Hello everyone, my name is Matthias Kirschner. I work for the Free Software Foundation Europe since 2004. In this capacity, I'm also a member of the Document Foundation's Advisory Board, and I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to present the FSFE's work here for software freedom. So the FSFE is a charity that empowers users to control technology. We do this since 2001. And recently, we had some thoughts about how would the world look like when we as FSFE are successful by the year 2048. Why 2048? Because we think that several of us will still be able to live at that time and see this, while 4096 is unrealistic. So I want to share those thoughts with you, or some of those thoughts with you, and what the FSFE is doing in this area. First of all, by 2048, we would like to see that all public spending for software is going to free software. What have we done in this area? We have worked with a lot of public administrations in the past, but in 2017, we started with the Public Money, Public Code framework. So we set up a website explaining why public administrations should publish their software under a free software license when it's paid with taxpayers' money. We had a video there, an open letter joined by many organizations, and lots of other resources. I'm very glad that LibreOffice community was using those resources and is pushing forward with that together with many other organizations who take these resources available out there and are pushing for this change. So thank you very much for those of you who have been involved in this. I won't talk much longer about Public Money, Public Code because later my co-worker Alexander is doing a workshop about this. So go there and talk with him about what we can do to make this even more successful. Now, because all those efforts during the last decades of work have been quite successful, there are meanwhile a lot of people out there, organizations, political decision makers, that say that they are in favor of free software and they promise what they are doing about that. So one part of our work there is that we want to ensure that what they say and what they do is actually match. And that we point out when people are saying a lot of nice things about the work they are doing for free software, but when you look closer, you will not see much about this work. That's also at the moment one of the problems we see, that while there are a lot of political claims that they are all in favor of free software, we see huge budget cuts. This is just a budget cut of the NGI project on the European level, where a lot of free software developers are getting money from. But we see that all over Europe in member states and different programs that budgets are at the moment cut. And we have to do something about that. Furthermore, by 2048, we want to make sure that everyone has the right to install or remove any software on any of your devices. No matter what kind of computer that is, no matter if it's the operating system you want to change, no matter if it's the app store, the web browser, whatsoever. Now, to accomplish this, we have recently set up a website called deviceneutrality.org, where we are explaining a more scientific concept of device neutrality to the general public. It's exactly about what I just explained. And before that, in the same area, since 2013, we are working to ensure that you as users can decide yourself what router you are using at home, and that your ISP cannot force you which router to use and which not. So we've started this work in Germany. Then, when we were successful there to accomplish router freedom, it started again on the European level. We worked on the European level on this topic, and meanwhile, we then again worked on the different member states when there was this regulation which was discussed there. So that's something where we work with many organizations for this. You see that's over 10 years, just to make sure that ISPs can't force you to use crappy routers at home. We have also helped people to install other operating systems on their mobile phones and help developers to put their apps in free software app stores. We did many workshops about that in the recent years, then also with the focus on sustainability. So what kind of resources can we save as society if people are able to use their mobile phone a few months or a year or two longer? So that's what we did there. Now the recent part there is that since a few weeks we are in litigation against Apple. And our goal there is that we keep Apple accountable under the Digital Markets Act in a developer-friendly way. We want to make sure that Apple cannot decide which applications and which app stores you install on an iPhone device, on an iOS device. Now, as a short intervention here, that's the worth of Apple the last time I checked. We are the only charity that is at the moment in court on the European Court of Justice against Apple in this. We currently have less balloons than they have billions. So if you like the work we are doing there and you would like us to be successful there, it's really, really helpful if you could become a FSFE supporter and help us to finance this work and counter a little bit the billions of money they have on their accounts. The other goal we have is that by 2048, all the different regulatory frameworks, they should incentivize the use and development of free software in comparison to proprietary software. So when you do something with free software, you should have a financial benefit and other benefits from that than if you do that with proprietary software. Now, that's an area of work where we have worked on many different regulations in the past. And since the early 2000s, we have had discussions with politicians, lawmakers about how to favor free software, or at least make sure that we are not disadvantaged like it happened for many decades there. Just the recent work we are doing there was that we were active in the AI Act, in the Cyber Resilience Act, and in the Product Liability Directive. So one of the things we worked on there is that we worked to make sure that there is a clear and precise exception for individual developers. That the CA label is something that not those who are developing software are responsible for, but that is something that those who are deploying the software have to take care about. And that the compliance is something that rests with those who financially benefit from this. And at the moment, we are working there on the implementation of that in relation to the market surveillance authorities. So now, when we are working more on making sure that there are incentives and benefits for free software, there are also, of course, more people who claim that they are free software while they are actually not. Something we call open washing. And we think this is something that will keep us quite busy in the next years as well, to make sure that when people are claiming that their products or services are free software, while they are not, that we point this out and that they don't get the benefits that others have who are actually free software. Now, to go to another topic, we would like to see that legal and licensing decisions are based on facts and not foot. And that if you're a developer, that you can concentrate on coding and you don't have to care that much about legal issues. So in 2006, we realized that a lot of developers and companies want to use and develop more free software, but it was blocked by their legal departments. So we said, we have to connect people there who already have knowledge about those topics with those who are interested in those topics and are gathering this knowledge at the moment. and make sure they talk with each other. So we started the legal network to have this exchange on a mailing list. And once a year, we are also doing a workshop for these topics where we bring people all around the world together. So from those 400 people, then we have around 100 to 150 people who then come together, discuss topics about that, and thereby ensure that those decisions are based on facts and not some hearsay. We also receive a lot of questions by people who don't know, like, can I combine this license with that license? How does this work in copyright? How about with trademarks, with patents, and so on? So we try to help people there with our license question team. And we are also involved in the NGI projects where we help people then with legal and licensing questions. And based on this work, we also publish frequently asked questions on our website where you can learn more about our work in this area, and that you don't have to find out all about that on your own and do the research. Based on those questions there, we also developed a format called the Legal Education Day, where we do an introduction into those topics so that developers and people who are interested in this get a short half-day introduction into those topics, and so that they afterwards have an easier way to find their own way with free software and licensing topics. And if you're interested in this, you can ask us about it. We do that at conferences, at online events. We would be happy to also provide that to others. And we have seen that it's sometimes difficult for people to understand what is actually the license of the software. And we want to fix that. And we don't want developers to spend time to read hundreds of pages what you have to do to ensure that your software is really free software and that people can then reuse that in products. So what we came up with is the reuse specifications, which you find under reuse.software. There, with this project, we want to ensure that license information is better readable by humans and machines, so you can automate that and make sure that you stick to the license obligations that are defined there and make it easy to actually do what is allowed to do with free software licenses. There are several communities who are using this already. We provide a linter tool, we provide an API. So if you're interested in this, please have a look at it. And if you have any questions, get in contact with us. Now, by 2048, we would like to see that free software is the default for young people to learn about how software works. We want to ensure that young people here are actually active participants in shaping technology. So let me ask you one question. Can you please raise your hand if you're below 25 years? We would like to fix that. It's good that you are here, but it would be good if there would be more. So one thing we are doing is we have a European-wide coding competition called Youth Hacking for Freedom. And what we do there is we ask teenagers to start a project and work on that project for several months. The only condition is that it is free software afterwards. So what they do in this time is we have monthly calls with them where they can exchange their experience, and we have people who tell them about different aspects and give them some tips. We want to make sure that other peers in their age, that they see what you can actually accomplish while you are still a teenager, and that they are also encouraged to get into this. We then bring them together in the winners together in Brussels for an award ceremony, and through some great donation we got there, we can then also give them prize awards from 1,024 to 4,096 euros, which they can afterwards invest in their new projects. Get a new laptop, go to some conferences, whatsoever. And the great thing in this competition is also they are competing with each other. What we see is that in the chat, they raise questions and they help each other to find out like, oh yeah, have you tried this library or have you tried that approach? Do you know about that? It's so great to see how they live the spirit of free software there and how through that time they get closer and closer to the free software community. So it's something for me when I meet them, it's so inspiring to see that there are so many young people coming behind us. So, and the other part we have is that we have published a story called Ada and Sangemann, A Tale of Software, Skateboards and Raspberry Ice Cream. It's a story tale from 6 to 106 years. We published that book under a Creative Commons by Share Alike license, so it's available as open educational resources. It's in our Git repository. There are at the moment 10 languages in the Git repository. There are all kinds of materials which you can download there, from presentation slides to the text with markers where to turn slides, so that you can go to a school, to a library, do a reading about that, and afterwards talk with them about your work for LibreOffice and why this is cool, and encourage them to join, and also think about what they want to invent in future. We then also do those readings. I have in the last months read the book to over 1,700 children. And afterwards, it's so great when then some girls are coming up and say, I want to start programming now. And in some occasions like this one here in Italy, we have then cooperated with organizations who then do some coding workshop afterwards. And we even have a volunteer who then brings ice cream, so that they can afterwards also eat ice cream. So please make use of those resources to get to younger children and encourage them to actively shape technology, not just passively use technology. And since this Tuesday, Ada Lovelace Day, we also have the story as a movie, also published under Creative Commons by Share Alike. It's now available in English. There are other efforts to soon also have that in other languages. There is Gabriele here in the audience who is working on the Italian version. Thanks a lot to you, and there are others who are also working on other languages. We are working on some premieres, so please use that to have that as a tool out there to get with, to connect with younger audiences. And now my final wish for you: please take out your calendar and mark the 14th of February. On the 14th of February, we encourage people to say thank you to each other. So we see in the free software community that we are often very critical with each other. We hardly criticize others. We write bug reports, feature requests, tell people why they are wrong and we are right. And sometimes we forget that the other people in our community, that they are humans, and that they have done amazing work also for our community and for software freedom. So please, on the 14th of February, do this as a recurring date till 2048 at least, that you take this as a reminder and thank other people here in your community, from other free software communities. And from my side, we don't have to wait till the 14th of February. I would like to thank all of you for organizing the conference, for contributing to LibreOffice, and for, in general, working for software freedom. So thank you very much.